This episode of Destructoid is brought to you by Carbonite. Today on the Destructoid Show, Alan Wake and some friends are having a little house party. Indie game, the movie, the review is here, and I get to talk about Mass Effect action figures. Let's get Destructoided.
Welcome to Destructoid. I'm Tara Long.
And I'm Max Scoville.
Happy Monday, Max.
Yes.
How was your weekend?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, funny story. I like to kind of disconnect from the online world over the weekend. Let my brain decompress and stuff, and just avoid the insanity in general. And so I come back to my computer this morning after being offline all weekend, and all anyone can talk about is the fucking Resident Evil 6 logo and how it looks like a giraffe getting a blowjob. Okay, I'm sorry to be the Debbie Downer here, but that was a doctored photo, you guys, okay? It's 4chan, that's what they do. They Photoshop things to look like giraffes getting blowjobs. See? It's barely even recognizable.
Yeah, you guys, I mean, come on. Believing an image that was discovered on 4chan and then thinking it was real, that is an amateur mistake.
Highly unprofessional. So on to the real news. A product listing on Xbox.com for Resident Evil 6 has revealed that the game will be packing both 2-player offline co-op and 6-player online co-op. In addition to those, it lists some other kind of online multiplayer support for up to eight players, possibly similar to the 8-player versus mode from Resident Evil 5's DLC, but that has not been confirmed by Capcom yet. The official Resident Evil Twitter account, on the other hand, is busy letting everyone know that they do not plan to abandon the franchise's survival horror roots, as many are fearing will happen. In fact, they told one Destructoid Show viewer, Sir Toby, on Twitter that, quote, RE6 will be a great mix of classic Resident Evil with survival horror moments. And with that, my friends, we just sit back and let the speculation begin.
What does it mean?
What does it all mean?
It's all so complicated.
I think it means it's going to be like a mix of 4 and 5, which is kind of what people are hoping for, I think.
Okay.
They just don't want it to be too much like 5.
Okay.
So...
Are there actual raccoons in this Raccoon City?
No, I think you're thinking of another game.
Oh, man. Okay, anyway, as you guys are probably well aware, releases for Xbox Live Arcade are frequently lumped into big events so that they can be spectacular and fun, and we've got details on the latest one. According to Major Nelson's blog, XBLA House Party 2012 will be starting on February 15th with the release of Warp. I was totally unfamiliar with this game, but the trailer makes it look interesting enough. It seems sort of like an isometric Portal where you play as a head crab who can teleport inside of people and make them explode into blood, which is kind of neat. I like that. That looks really gross, right? That'll set you back 800 Microsoft points. The following
Cooking
week,
Mama. That's the game with the raccoons.
there are no raccoons in Cooking Mama.
I'm pretty sure you can make raccoon soup.
Okay. Anyway, the following week, on the 22nd, we get our hands on Alan Wake's American Nightmare, which is the sequel to the 2010 psychological horror action game Alan Wake, obviously. That's going to set you back 1,200 Microsoft points. And while we're on the subject of Alan Wake, good news for you PC gamers out there. You guys don't need to feel as left out as you once did. The original game is finally headed to Steam next month. There is no word on a specific date, but it is officially happening sometime in February after being told that this wouldn't happen and for years. Meanwhile, back on XBLA, fans of the old open source first-person shooter Nexus will be happy to hear that it's coming to Xbox Live, or maybe they won't be happy. I don't really know what people get excited about or not. Nexus was originally a freeware PC FPS running on a modified Quake engine, but the XBLA version will be using CryEngine 3 and features a futuristic Victorian art style. That will be out February 29th for 800 Microsoft points.
Very pretty looking.
Looks neat. Finally, Ubisoft's long-anticipated post-apocalyptic survival game I Am Alive will be hitting XBLA on March 7th. This is the game that puts you in a major metropolitan city after some kind of big cataclysmic disaster occurred, and it forces you to survive against the elements and other survivors, and generally just kind of creep around in a really miserable place. That'll set you back 1,200 Microsoft points and probably a few hours of sleep. I gotta say, this looks like a hell of a lineup. This makes Summer of Arcade look like a pile of shit.
Yeah.
With the exception of Warp, these games that they're putting out for pretty cheap as downloadable titles. They're really pushing the boundaries of what we expect from downloadable games.
Yeah.
I was expecting I Am Alive and Alan Wake to be retail games.
Yeah, same here, because those were pretty big,
Yeah, but instead they're going to be $15. However, I will say that if anyone from Microsoft ever invites me to an actual house party, I will probably be declined because this is not like their idea of a house party seems to be like dark, scary, depressing, violent shit. So I don't know how I'm supposed to make a drinking game out of Alan Wake unless it's like take a shot every time something is macabre and unsettling or turns into birds or whatever.
You laugh, but that game gets played a lot at my house on Friday nights alone.
Yeah, when you light candles and write poetry about your cats?
Yep.
Okay.
Friday night at home. That's right. So moving forward, this past weekend was a very exciting one for indie game developers because Indie Game the Movie finally premiered at Sundance on Saturday. Round of applause because we weren't there. It is the first film by Lisanne Pajot, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and James Swirsky, and it follows the trials and tribulations of 4 struggling indie game developers, including Edmund McMillan and Tommy Refenes, who you may know from Super Meat Boy. It's also got John Blow, the creator of Braid, in there, and Phil Fish, the creator of Fez.
What?
Yeah, he's cool. I saw the trailer for the movie a couple months ago and have been really excited to see it ever since. Unfortunately, it won't be viewable to the public for a while. I think maybe GDC they're going to show it. I'm not sure. In the meantime, HBO has apparently bought the rights necessary to turn Indie Game the Movie into a 30-minute HBO series to be produced by Scott Rudin, who is, of course, the very famous Hollywood producer who has worked on almost every single movie ever made. I think that's just his resume. It's just like, I've worked on every movie ever made.
Hi, I worked on movies.
Yeah, just movies, film. Interestingly, though, when that news first broke, it was incorrectly reported that the series was going to be a comedy sitcom. So for about 2 hours until the creators of the movie dispelled that rumor, all of the people on the internet were just blowing up because they were like, is this going to be another Big Bang Theory type show?
I love the internet.
Yeah.
It's the misinformation age.
Well, it turns out it's not going to be a comedy or a terribly unfunny sitcom, and we still don't even know if it'll be made into a show at all. HBO has simply bought the rights to it, but that doesn't actually guarantee that it'll get made. Either way, Destructoid's Jonathan Holmes and Alistair Pinshoff recently got a chance to sit down with the creators of Indie Game the Movie and ask them some questions. Unfortunately, rabid wolverines attacked someone's computer, so most of the interview was destroyed. But you can check out the 15 minutes that did survive over on Destructoid.com. Here is a little taste to whet your appetite in the meantime.
Yeah, a question for James and Lisanne. So there's a lot of documentaries about people that play video games or something kind of inherently entertaining about someone play a game at a high level. But when it comes to making games, I don't really think there's too much visually interesting going on. So how were you challenged by that?
Yeah, that was one of our biggest worries going into it, was the fact that making a game cinematically isn't very interesting. It doesn't, it's basically, guys sitting at a computer typing for a long, long time. And if it's independent games, oftentimes they're alone, so you don't even have an interpersonal dynamic going on. So to kind of combat that, you kind of try and make things look as visually interesting and visually as appealing as possible. You do little things like, move the camera as much as you can. You try and make someone sitting at a computer look, you shoot it from a whole bunch of different angles, as many angles as you possibly can. And we tried as much as we could to kind of use mixed media, within the whole piece, using graphics as much as we possibly could. A lot of video, a lot of game graphics, and then a lot of internet cut up stuff. And it was that was definitely one of our biggest worries for sure. How else would you explain that?
No, I think that's about it, right? We tried to make it seem as interesting visually as possible and keep the pacing up on film and all those types of things.
I can't wait to see it. So all this talk about it. Can't wait to see it. Have you got a DVD deal or anything? Is it definitely gonna come to people so they can see it?
Oh well, push comes to shove, we're printing these things ourselves and shipping them out. That's how it'll happen. But maybe maybe we'll be able to do it in a different way, which it won't take as long.
Yeah, well, if you need help, let me know. I'll print some out. I got some Twitter followers. Sell it to for you.
Sounds good.
Oh, Holmes.
That sassy motherfucker.
Always exploiting his Twitter followers. So that was the interview. You probably saw Tommy and Edmund pop up in there for just a second. You can watch the full thing on Destructoid.com, and you can check out Alistair Pinchoff's review of Indie Game, the movie, on Flixist.com if you're interested. We're going to take a quick second to thank our sponsor, and then we will be back with more news. Computer disasters eventually happen to everyone. Fact. Maybe your computer overheats or gets thrown in a puddle of urine. Well, if you get Carbonite Online Backup before your disaster, then there's no need to worry because your files will be backed up automatically and safely off-site, and it's a cinch to get them back. With Carbonite, you get anytime, anywhere access to your backed up files from whatever computer, smartphone, or tablet you like with the free Carbonite app. And unlimited backup for your PC or Mac is just $59 a year. That is less than $5 a month. But when you use the offer code Destructoid to start your free 15-day trial, you'll get 2 months free if you decide to buy. All the details are at Carbonite.com, and remember to use the offer code Destructoid to get 2 months free with your purchase. Maybe if Alistair and Holmesy had used Carbonite, we'd have gotten to see the full glory of their interview. Alas, that will never happen. It is lost in the sands of time.
The sands of time, Wolverines.
Yes.
Right. So anyway, writing fart jokes about video games for a living is cool and everything, but if I had a time machine, I would go back to the late 90s and report on action figure collecting back when that was in its heyday. Unfortunately, I don't have a time machine, so I typically just jump at the chance to report on any gaming news that is vaguely related to toys. Today we've got a hot scoop that involves Mass Effect 3 DLC and action figures. Yeah, you're excited now, aren't you?
I am a hot scoop. You know
I can
how
feel
I
my
love
virginity
those.
growing back. The release of the Mass Effect action figures has been riddled with delays. I don't think Series 2 is even out yet, but BioWare is making another push to get these plastic beauties into the sweaty hands of collectors. On their store, new pre-order pages are up for Series 1 and 2 of the toys, with added info that a new run of the figures will come in Mass Effect 3 branded packaging and will include DLC codes for use in multiplayer. It says that these are slightly randomized during registration and could include powerful new weapons and characters, as well as character boosters, weapon mods, and upgrades. So you buy a toy man who comes with a little toy gun and comes with a code for a virtual gun for your little virtual man. So Mass Effect 3, blatant ripoff of Skylanders, I'm calling it now. Boom.
Wow.
In any case, you can go pre-order Shepard, Thane, Tali, Grunt, Miranda, Morden, Legion, and Garrus over on the BioWare store today. Batteries not included, vehicles and playsets sold separately. I have always wanted to say that.
Now, out of curiosity, does the Miranda doll come anatomically correct?
I fucking hope so. I already pre-ordered that
Because
shit.
seriously, you guys made fun of me for Kamalto. Have you seen her character in game? That is not meant for children, people. That is disgusting. Good job though, CGI-wise.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, look
no.
at the time. We have to run, but it's been fabulous having you here with us today. If you want to stay in touch with all the cool things happening on this show, you can follow us on Twitter. We are at Detoid Show. Max, you're also on there, right? What's your Twitter handle?
Max Scoville.
Yeah, he's Max Scoville. I'm Tara Longest. It's got your height on there, 6'7".
I've changed all of that information since.
Yeah, these are old. We're going to be back tomorrow with another video on the latest Saints Row DLC. That's going to be exciting,
Boom.
right?
You will enjoy it. I have worked hard on it.
Yes, so
Yes.
tune in for that, and we will see you guys tomorrow.